they clearly see value in being here to talk to this group specifically in this part of the mining sector, right? Do you get a sense of what it is that they, why do they want to be at this showcase?
Well, there's a number of different reasons, right? So you've got, first of all, the smaller ones, the SMEs, the really small, some of these companies are 3 people or one person.
Small,
they operate
small and mighty. Yeah.
Honestly, they've maybe worked in the mines, saw a challenge, created a solution, building it in their garage. It's really, it's for real. That's the deal. So for them to come to a place like this, it's not affordable. So we give them an opportunity at a very, subsidized through FedNor rate. It's $500.
Wow.
Yeah. So they get their booth for $500 and they just show up. We do everything, the graphics, everything you see, we put together for them. So it makes it attainable for a small company that not only may not have the financial resources, but they don't have the internal capacity.
Yeah, you need the infrastructure to get here, right?
Well, and they don't even have the knowledge. They may never even done a show. Like they don't even know. So we're helping pull those companies up to a point where they can get in front of an audience they wouldn't be able to otherwise. So that's a big chunk of who's here is companies like that. We have companies who are kind of a little bit more mid-level who may have started with us and now are selling all over the world who, because of this event, because they could afford at $500 5 years ago to come. And then we also have some of the larger companies, but we do have very strict guidelines to get in here. We have 4 kind of key criteria, and for those of you who are listening who are interested in getting in, I should probably explain them, right? Number 1, you need to have a significant presence in Northern Ontario, and that doesn't mean, hey, I do a lot of work in Northern Ontario, I have people at camps or things like that. It means I have operations in Northern Ontario, we pay taxes here. We have a minimum of We have a minimum of 25% of our workforce living, working, paying taxes in Northern Ontario. You can't have more than 500 employees worldwide. So if you're a big guy, it's not happening. Because you can afford to get a booth outside. You can try and be close to us. So that's some of the key criteria. Obviously, you need to be selling into mining, and you need to have potential to export. That's kind of an important. We consider from the FedNor's perspective, FedNor is the one who funds this, their criteria of export is anything outside of Ontario. So you can be looking to try and expand into Quebec and you still qualify. So those are the main pieces. So the companies that are here all fit within that. And they want to be here for various reasons. We've had actually companies start here, go out and come back because we bring more traffic. We have obviously even things like we're doing today. This is an add-on that they wouldn't have otherwise. If you have a booth, a 10 by 10 in the South Hall at the back.
It's a long walk, we'll just say.
Right? And not only that, it's so big and you're lost within the shuffle. And nobody is working on your behalf to draw people. We are, right? We've got teams here. We're pushing social. We pre-promote.
So you're greater than the sum of your parts because you're
absolutely,
in here, right?
Absolutely. And people show up and they're like, oh.
So let me ask you this: with all that activity, do you have a sense of how much? I mean, I can see people are handing out their brochures and they're having great and engaging conversations, but is there a sense of what the dollar value of business is being done on the floor? Absolutely.
So another thing, because we get funding, and with any government funding, you have to report, is there value to this? It's taxpayer dollars. We need to demonstrate that we're not just blowing the money on a fun thing, right? That's not the intent. The intent is to help businesses make money and grow and create jobs and help the economy of the North. So they are required, when they apply to be in the show, if they've been before, like let's say when they applied for this year, they would have said, they would check a box, was I there in 2023? Yes. It opens up a new survey. How many sales did you make? How many leads did you generate? What was the value of those sales? So we do get that information.
Now, is that criteria for coming back or just collect the data?
It's criteria for returning. You can't, that's part of your, for the $500 you're paying, we expect you to report on what you're doing, because essentially...
But if those are zeros, that doesn't disqualify you from coming?
No, it doesn't disqualify. Okay. No, not at all. Because, I mean, sometimes it's just brand building. It
bet.
takes time. These are, if you're selling $1 million machine, it's not like
It's a long tail sale.
you're not. Yeah, you're not selling jam, right? Like you're pies or whatever. You're really. It takes time. Sometimes it takes that 3 years before you get that sale or that you
Sure.
close the deal.
Kind of
right?
develop the relationship. for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These are big things. So we do. We have all the numbers going back to the inception, and we track that for sure. And I mean, I want to say last year was 40 million something was sold on just from last year's show.